So you've probably seen the video of Acorn cop where a cop was walking over their car and Acorn fell on the car and he decided to empty out his entire mag at the guy who was handcuffed. He started rolling, yelling that he was hit. But do you know the backstory of the entire thing? So how did this whole thing start? Well, it all started from a call to the police station from Jackson's girlfriend, saying that Jackson had stole her car and that he was armed. He took the car, and then he sent a picture of the car and what seemed to be a silencer to his girlfriend to threaten her. Police come, they find Jackson, they ask where the car is. He says that the car is at his girlfriend's mom's house. They called the mom, she's like, the car's not there, but then they find it like a block or two down the house. Not her house, but his house. So the police come, they find Jackson, 2 police officers search him, one being possibly Officer Hernandez, and the car. They don't find the gun, and they don't find the silencer. They arrest Jackson, and they put him in handcuffed, seated in the back of the cruiser. So the 2 officers are talking to the girlfriend, one of them being Hernandez. He goes back to the cruiser to go check on Jackson, and as soon as he gets near Jackson, an acorn falls from the tree and lands on the cruiser, making a ding sound. So the cop thinks that Jackson, while handcuffed, somehow got a gun or hid it somewhere and started shooting at him, which led Officer Hernandez to get scared and empty out an entire mag, rolling, saying that he's hit. One of the cops that was talking to the girlfriend hears this and also empties out her mag at the car too. Because, first cop says that he got shot. Somehow after both cops emptied out their entire magazines at Jackson while he was handcuffed and couldn't move at all, they missed every single shot at the guy and didn't hit him once. The main issue that a lot of people had was that Officer Hernandez said that he got hit, which caused both officers to empty out their entire mag. And they could have ended someone's life over an acorn falling. So after a little bit, I think like a minute or 2 after, the initial shooting, they asked, where you hit? And he says, I think my vest caught it. He wasn't shot at all, but he lied about getting shot because he heard a sound. Also, people brought up the fact that, police officers can get PTSD, which is why he did that. I'm not sure if they're trying to justify it or defend them, but wouldn't having PTSD be more of a reason not to become a police officer? Because let's say he has PTSD. An acorn falling almost turned a man into Swiss cheese. Things like this can happen, but it can happen more frequently because of the PTSD. Also, I found out something new. You can become a cop or remain as a cop even if you have PTSD, as long as it's at a manageable state. Which is kind of odd to me because I thought, to become an officer or to remain as a police officer, you need to be fully sound of mind at all times. As in, no sign of any mental, brain, or cognitive issues since, you're given the ability to take someone's life. So, it probably would be better if you had full control of your own form of thinking, which would be, calm, cool, and collected. But, all this happened in Florida, so shooting first an entire mag at a handcuffed guy and asking questions later is probably the norm there. Because, Florida is probably the closest thing most people will get to a real life GTA lobby. So now let's try to understand both sides of this interaction. First, you had Jackson. He was searched by 2 cops, one of them being Officer Hernandez, which started this whole thing. They find they have nothing on him, and they also search his car and there's nothing there. The guy is physically fit, so he couldn't have hid the gun or weapon anywhere like under a fat. Because the only way that I can think of to have a gun hidden on your person while it's being searched by police officers is that if the gun was hidden by rolls of fat. Because I swear there's cases where people actually were able to hide guns in their rolls of fat. He sits in the cruiser just waiting, to be taken. When bullets start flying at him for no reason, all he hears is that one of the officers yells that he is hit and you just see shooting. Jackson probably thinks that today is his last day. Because really, what else are you supposed to think in that situation? You're handcuffed. One of the officers says that he's hit, rolling, and you have 2 cops emptying their entire mags, thus shooting at you as you're handcuffed. And if people are defending Officer Hernandez, saying he only did that because of PTSD, if you're a cop who can shoot at an innocent person and blame it on PTSD as a defense, you shouldn't be a cop. His life could have been ended over an acorn, and your only defense is PTSD. But if PTSD is your only defense, why are you a police officer in the first place? So now Officer Hernandez's side of things. You have a cop who potentially has PTSD. He watches and he even took part of the search. And they find nothing on him. No gun and no anything. Also, a gun isn't even that small. If you're looking for a gun on someone's body, there's really nowhere you can hide it. Also, the difference in sound between a gun firing and an acorn falling a tree or falling off a tree is probably a large difference. And if you can't find a difference between those two things, causing you to shoot first and ask questions later, you probably shouldn't be a cop. Also, I saw the full body cam footage and it's actually a lot worse than like the clips. Because usually, the clip is like a minute long, him walking to the car, Acorn stops, empties out the entire mag, and then rolls to get into cover. But continuing from the roll, he starts shooting as he's laying down, continuing to shoot, yelling, I'm hit, I'm hit. He starts to crawl behind another car, and he's still saying that I got hit through the police car. He lays down for like a good 20 seconds. I don't know, fear, PTSD, adrenaline, probably something like that. So really now, it's a standoff between 3 cops with guns and a guy handcuffed, tied down in a police car. And all you hear is the screaming and crying of, I think, his girlfriend. She thinks that she just witnessed his death and potentially caused it by calling the cops. So after this whole body cam footage came out, an investigation started, and I think Officer Hernandez resigned. Also, I'm not sure if this part is true, but people are saying that after he resigned, he became a cop again a few towns over. Because this whole situation happened on November 12th, 2023. So it's been 4 months since then. So after everything, almost turning a man into Swiss cheese, Hernandez doesn't get charged a thing, but his actions were labeled as not objectively reasonable. That's it. It was just labeled not reasonable, and the guy resigned. And they aren't gonna do anything to him because he didn't hit him once, but he probably scarred Jackson for life. Also, I didn't know about this, but Jackson, he actually wrote his side of things. He made a Facebook post and everything, detailing what happened, and it reads as followed. On November 12th, 2023, I, Marquise Jackson, was stopped by Okaloosa County Sheriffs on McLaren. I can't read, so if I pronounce some of the streets wrong, that's the reason. Circle in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. While walking, another officer demanded another officer to search me. I was confused why I was being searched, but they never told me anything. I decided to cooperate and just follow the demands. I knew that I haven't done anything wrong yet. I think the only reason why they searched him was, the whole picture of the silencer. They thought that they had a gun. And I think the reason why he was walking was that, he parked the car a few blocks down. So when he returned, police have seen the car on him, but, they still found him and they still found the car anyway. I was searched multiple times, then all unlawfully handcuffed and placed into the backseat of a cop car while being strapped down by his seatbelts. A few moments later, all I hear is an officer scream, I'm hit, he's armed. As soon as that was announced, multiple shots were fired at me while I was stuck in the back seat. All I could do was lean over and play dead, preventing to get shot in the head. I was scared to death, and all I knew was that I had to depend on God. I ignored everything and prayed. Windows were shattered on me the whole time. Bullets continued flying through me or flying across me. I was blessed not to get hit by any bullet or get hurt physically, but mentally, I am not okay. I have not been the same since, and I don't think this feeling will ever change. I truly believe that I am damaged for life. As shots stopped firing, officers yelled at me to put my hands up. Mind you, I'm still handcuffed, so I can't. I reminded them that they had handcuffed me, was led them to tell me to stand up straight or sit up straight. However, I sat up straight, looked back. I looked straight at the barrel of Officer Something's gun and saw several other officers with their guns aimed at me. I left it up to God, sat up there, how they wanted me with my eyes closed. I remember this officer in particular because he was the officer that wrongfully arrested and tasered my younger brother a while back. I eventually found a way to rest my cuffed hands on the shattered window area to show that I was not armed. A few minutes later, they swarmed the car, slammed me into the ground, searched me for any injuries. When I got up, I was led in an ambulance. At that moment, I saw just how many officers there were. But the image I can't get out of my head was that how bad my mom was hurt / crying right before I got into the ambulance. While in the ambulance, they cut off all my clothes, checking for any injuries. I was taken to Fort Walton Beach Medical Center, still handcuffed, and they took me to Okaloosa County Courthouse to book me into the system by taking pictures, fingerprints. I continued to ask every officer I saw what I was being charged with, and they all said the same thing. I don't know. We're waiting on more info. I sat in the cell for hours, and eventually an officer told me that I'm free to go, and I'm not charged with anything. They're trying to cover this up by not posting the body cam footage. I need everyone to repost, share, tag anyone you know can help me during this time. Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office of Fort Walton Beach, Northwestern Florida Daily News. Why haven't we all seen this article? So he posted this on February 8th, and I think the body cam footage was posted on the 12th. So, hopefully Jackson gets a lawyer and he sues Hernandez or the department. So really, that's about it. If you like this stuff, please help me make another video.